Where is this going? Are we going to launch
It's going
this?
nowhere. Where it's going is to our little campfire. That's right. Welcome to Five's a Crowd.
What are you playing with?
He's fire.
That's the
The
fire.
fire.
He is the fire.
That's
I
the
mean, it makes
fire.
sense.
I mean-
Makes sense. Actually, just lay down. Put your beard right there. Just and wiggle it.
Blow on it. Just blow on it. Put a fan on
You
it.
lay there and I'll blow on it.
There we go.
That's right. Welcome to Cam's Campfire Creep Show here on Five's a Crowd.
Oh, I love it. This, as you know, well, they don't know. You should know. We were going to do this around an actual campfire.
Yep, we were.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed that we're not.
Maybe
Yep.
in the future.
See, and I like listening to like scary, creepy stories on YouTube. And so I wanted to do a little campfire thing where I could share those creepy stories with everybody, let you get the feels for the creepiness.
Should I turn the lights down low?
Down low, dim them. We need little flashlights so we can put up to our faces.
Oh, you should have told me. I would have brought some. I don't
We
have
should
any
done
here,
it.
man.
Dang it.
I got some in the truck.
Oh, we all have our phones. Shwing. That's okay.
Right. Huh?
That's okay.
We
But-
should do this again in October,
Okay.
and then we'll actually have the lights.
Yeah, I'm down. Let us know what you think. If you enjoy these creepy little stories I got here, I got 4 of them for you today. Okay. The last one being my favorite and the best one, so stick around.
You know, you sound like you're just copying me from last week.
I came up with the idea first. You just beat me to it.
Hey, he's in control of the playback here.
You know what?
I run this
Let's
world.
be honest. Is he going to actually go back and edit any of this?
No, I'm just going to switch the release dates. Mine first.
I will say Zach did set the bar real high.
It was good.
Real
it was
high.
good.
However, you guys better bring your heat because we got some jokes to crack. We got to get back at him.
That's right.
I was in a goofy mood. I don't know what happened.
And the patty wax?
That's his fault for saying knickknacks. Oh, this might be scary. Who knows? I don't know what's
Not
going to
gonna
happen.
be anymore.
Last time,
You ruined my scary vibe.
if you didn't hear Zach's stories, stop this one right now. Go listen to that one, then come back.
Yes, it'll help give you a reference.
You're going to have to wait 2 weeks because he changed the schedule.
The power is mine. all right, bring it in. We got our campfire. Okay, imagine yourselves. We're out in the forest. It's dark. An eerie wind is blowing around. Maybe that's what we should do. You guys should
crunch of
just
the
be my
leaves.
like sound effects.
I was going to try and do a crow
He was
cawing.
doing it. A bird flies by. It's an owl. Beautiful.
Dang.
We set the scene. We're on a college campus now. A girl.
Wait, so
Well,
we went
that's
from
way
the
off.
woods to the college campus?
Yeah, we did. The forest is right above it.
You got to
We just-
have terrible
then we just
mumble
went-
rap
okay.
playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Christy, a senior in college. She's out partying, you know, as they do. College people, they like to party.
Uno momento, por favor.
Yes,
Are these real stories?
yes,
Oh,
These are real.
yes.
okay.
Yes,
All right.
they're all allegedly real,
Allegedly.
as most of these stories are.
Okay.
So you decide. So Christy, a senior in college, she's out partying with her friends. They're having a grand old time. You know, time starts flying by. Midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. comes and goes real quick. Christy decides, you know what? I'm not going to stay out all night. I got other things to do the next day. I need to go home and get to bed. So Christy heads home, gets to her apartment, you know, her dorm, I guess, where she lives with a couple of her friends, unlocks the door, walks in, and as soon as she enters the room, she turns to her left, and she sees on the couch a random dude. He's on the couch. He's got a blanket on. He's got the blanket pulled all the way up to his mouth, kind of covering his mouth. All you see is his eyes.
Is this the naked man story?
This is not the naked man story.
Oh, okay.
But she looks at him, and his eyes are like big, right? He's like staring at her in just kind of a weird way. He gave her a real creepy vibe.
That's where you turn around and walk out.
Okay, she's like, you know what? This is one of my friends' friends. It's not the first time someone's been sleeping on the couch. Okay, So she feels just a little uneasy though, so she just goes straight to her room, locks the door behind her because she's feeling a little weird. Dude was staring at her. It's just weird. She's like,
where
whatever.
this is going.
It's one of my roommate's friends. I don't care. She, gets into her PJs, lays down, goes to sleep. A couple hours later, she's awoken in the night
By a knocking on the window.
by a tapping on the door, just a light tapping. She's, a little confused, a little groggy from her short nap there.
This is plagiarism from my story.
And
last
she's
week.
like, what's going on?
plagiarism.
No, it's different. That was out the window. This is at the door.
Tomato,
Inside the
tomato.
house.
Okay, all right.
So she's weirded out, rightly so.
angry eyes.
So she gets up and she walks towards the door. And as she gets closer to the door, all of a sudden the door handle starts jiggling. Starts shaking.
My money don't jiggle, jiggle.
Okay. And so she, all of a sudden she's already a little more creeped out. And then preceding that, scratching at the door. And it starts to get worse. It starts to get louder. She's already mad. So she texts her friends and she's like, hey, you know what? Come get your friend. Tell him to knock it off. He's being a freaking weirdo. He's being a creep. She's, sends the message, no reply. Door starts jiggling harder. Scratching gets louder. Everything's just, this guy's just like harassing her for no reason. She's freaking out. She finally picks up the phone and calls her roommates. They answer and she's like, hey, get your friend away from my door. He's harassing me basically. Like, get him out of here. And they're like, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? She's like, your friend, the guy that was sleeping on the couch when I came home, he's at the door, he's scratching, he's being crazy. Get him out of here. And her roommate's like, well, Christy, we don't have anyone over. Nobody came over while you were gone. Immediately, shivers run down her body. Hairs on the back of her neck are standing up. She's freaking out. And all of a sudden, dead quiet. She calmly says to her roommates, lock your door now. The second they lock that door, pounding on their door across the room, he starts, running at it, hitting it, kicking it, doing everything he can to get into the room where the roommates are. She, in her panic, yet sober panic, called the police. Tells them what's going on. They spring into action, and within a few minutes, there's already sirens coming down the street. When the sirens are heard, they also hear the man jump out the sliding door and disappear into the night.
So, that's one of my frustrating things I will say about a police officer. Don't come with your sirens blaring.
Turn the sirens off.
There's a guy in the house. Woo!
Well, they'd rather scare the
Then
guy,
again,
but they'd rather scare the guy off instead of causing harm to the residents who are in the home.
But then you don't catch the guy. He takes off.
true.
Okay.
But better that you're
dead
alive.
guy caught. Yeah.
Better you're alive. and he's gone.
People aren't bait.
Sure they are.
In the eyes of the law, they are.
So police get there. They hear him come in. And they come out of their rooms. But they go kind of around the apartment and stuff. And it was a ground level apartment, so they have a sliding glass door. Well, on the door, there's a whole bunch of scratch marks and stuff. Like somebody jimmied the lock and got into their house. And so they're like, this is most likely how he came in. Well, then they go and start taking statements, and they go to Christy's door. Scratches all over the door. Scratches all over the keyhole. And on the floor, right below her door, is a pair of scissors and a knife. And the police are like, this is most likely what he used to get in. But when you came home, he was most likely in the middle of like a burglary, and you caught him off guard. He jumped on the bed to try to hide. And since you did nothing, you made eye contact with him, you became the target because you were now her witness. Oh. So had she not locked her door, he easily could have gotten in and most likely killed her.
Mm-hmm. They
I
never
don't
caught
like
the
it.
guy.
I don't like it.
I'm sorry. Even if he was a friend of the roommates, to back it up and make sure I understood, when she walked in, saw him with the blanket over his face, it was just him and her in the place, right? Because the rest of the friends were
asleep in their rooms.
Oh,
Because it was like 3 a.m.
they weren't at their party.
No, they weren't at the party.
she
It was
was
a
at
different
a
group of
separate
friends.
party.
Okay.
So generally in a dorm room like that, you walk in and there's an immediate foyer almost,
Yeah.
like a living room, and then there's rooms with locks on the sides with like a kitchen attached.
I
to
was
it.
under the impression all the roommates were at the same party, and she left the party early, came home to him. Okay.
No. So,
Still.
and like, I mean, honestly, this makes me think back. Remember the movie Urban Legend?
Yes.
There's a part where she walks into her dorm room and her roommate's having sex,
Uh-huh.
and she flips the lights on and she's like, hey! And she like turned the lights off. She's like, oh, sorry. And she's literally in the same room, just over in the bed in the corner. So then the next time she comes home, her roommate's being murdered.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, sorry. Doesn't turn the
She
lights
just
on and just
hears
goes
the
to
sounds,
bed.
yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I feel like, in college, it's this weird crap is so normal that they're just like, whatever. But she had that creepy vibe, and that's what saved her life.
Gosh.
What a college, man. What a wild ride.
What a wild ride.
I didn't go.
You guys didn't, none of you guys went to college.
Nope. I took a semester.
shows.
One semester.
I just didn't live on the campus.
College was wild.
I went to some parties. It was all right. I was never a partier.
I was.
We are aware.
Was. Like you still are.
I haven't partied in forever. Kids beat that out
What
of
was
me.
it? The other day I was looking through Facebook and a memory came up and it was a picture of Jess and she's like this over all this beer.
Oh, all the beer from our wedding?
And it was literally just like hundreds of
yeah.
beers just sitting there and you're like, party at my casa. Anybody who wants to come?
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. I always threw big parties.
Now this next one might give Zach some flashbacks
Of his story again?
of his time back at $5 pizza.
Oh, let's bring that up again.
That was a short ride.
So
lasted 5 hours.
So for lack of a name, we'll call this character Zach. Okay. So Zach, 16-year-old, he had a job at the local pizzeria.
All right.
Just he was in the suburbs of a big city, so he wasn't in the big part of it, but he was just like kind of the outskirts, where everyone lives really. One night he's working late, and he's just out cleaning the kitchen. Things are going kind of slow. Not much is happening. He's just doing his daily job. He's got about 10 minutes before he's off work. He can go home, party, do whatever. Just then they get a phone call for a pizza delivery.
Oof.
He's the last one. Store's almost closed.
I already feel like this is a false story because
So-
nobody delivers 10 minutes before closing time.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Oh.
The store is open.
You
So
did it.
you still deliver. And they're open.
5 hours.
Yeah. They just leave right after they deliver. They don't go back to the
Chris.
store. They go home. So anyways, his boss gives him the directions, says, here's the last pizza delivery, then you can just go home. He types it into his GPS, hoping, hey, it'll be close. It'll be a quick 2 minutes. I'll be done. 5, 10 tops. He types it into the GPS, and turns out it's a little outside the normal city limits, kind of out in the outskirts.
Out of the delivery zone?
It's in the delivery zone, or else he wouldn't have delivered it. But
Maybe he was a go-getter.
it's in kind of the more rural areas, the kind of far west areas of it.
Well, if it was 16-year-old Zach, they didn't have they didn't have maps back then. So
MapQuest.
I mean, yeah,
You had to print it off.
You had to print it off. Step-by-step instructions.
Use a piece of gum and a paper clip to put it on your windshield.
Those were the days.
Dude.
No, they weren't.
That was a terrible, dangerous time. You have CDs in your mouth and you're trying to look at the maps
Looking
and
at the
switch them and
maps
put them
Hey,
on your
but
visor.
at least we didn't text and drive.
That's true. This
No, we
Zach,
swap CDs out.
this Zach was a responsible driver.
Okay.
So he puts in the GPS coordinates, takes him a little outside of town. He's like, okay, whatever. I just need to get this done. Drives out there. He arrives at this house, and the house just kind of looks, it's a little dank. It's not really lit up. It's an older house, a little more run down. The yard is just full of weeds. Not very many light posts out there. Nothing going on. Like no one's around. Just super quiet, kind of just creepy looking place. So hesitantly, he grabs his pizza. he walks up to the door. He knocks on the door. He doesn't hear anything. And he's like, I just want to get out of here. I don't even want to be here. As he turns to leave, the doorknob jiggles a little bit. Okay. Somebody opens the door. It's this older woman, like 70-year-old woman. And she's just a little ratty, a little rundown, like the house. And she's just kind of glaring at him. She's locking eyes with him, just glaring at him. This 70-year-old woman, missing some teeth. She's a strange lady.
It's a witch.
You know, he's put off by this. He's on guard. He's like, I have your pepperoni pizza here. And the lady's like, okay, I'll get your money. She pulls out, reaches for her purse, grabs her purse. She's holding it in her hand, getting her feeble little arthritic hands in there. And she's searching for the money. It's taken a weird amount of time, it's taken a couple minutes, like more than it should to grab some money. All of a sudden she holds and stares at him again. And he realizes she's holding something in her right hand. And he starts to get real uneasy. And all of a sudden behind her, kind of in the back of the house, he sees a silhouette, a shadow of somebody. The house isn't really lit up.
Is this in Texas? Because I'm getting like Chainsaw Massacre vibes here.
Right, dude? It's something like that. It didn't give me exact location of this. But, he starts to see the silhouette of somebody behind this older woman. Then all of a sudden he hears off to the left side, he hears some footsteps. And he turns, and it's kind of got one of those wraparound porches. And he sees just a man standing at the end of this porch, glaring at him over the railing. Gosh. And all of a sudden, the guy just starts climbing up over the railing.
Frickin'
And that's it. At that moment, the kid's like, screw this. He runs back to the car. Luckily, he jumps in and gets it started. Nobody's right behind him. He takes off, gets out of there, right? He ends up paying for the pizza himself. He's 16. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. So he just pays for the pizza himself. Doesn't even say anything about it. Well, 2 days later, he's back at work. And he tells his manager everything that happened. And the manager's like, well, what the heck? Why didn't you tell me this before? That's, you shouldn't have to go through something like that. So they call the police, send the police there. And the police find 3 people in this house. Apparently the house had been foreclosed for over a year. Oof. And these people were squatting in it. The older woman and the 2 men. And they ended up arresting them. But luckily, the kid got away from what possibly could have been his demise.
Jeez.
Creepy old people out in the suburbs. I feel for you, delivery people.
That's in the sticks, though.
That's true. There's actually quite a few stories about that.
Mm-hmm. Really?
About delivery people going out.
Yeah, dude, they're creepy.
I don't know about you. When you were on your mission, did you ever get those vibes at some houses?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I got those. There was one specific house. I got that vibe really bad. And he actually invited us into the house. Same. And my companion was like, yeah, we'll go in. And I was like, but I'm the greenie. And I was like, okay. And so we went inside and sat down. And after 5 minutes, I leaned over to him. I said, dude, we got to leave. I don't feel comfortable here. And he's like, I'm getting that feeling really bad right now, too. And we did. We got up and we left. It was like the worst feeling I have ever felt. It was creepy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, same thing happened to me. This guy, we were walking down the street and this guy was yelling. He was standing in his front yard yelling at these construction workers across the street. And just basically just saying they were doing their jobs wrong and stuff. Just creepy old dude, right? And so we're knocking on every door, and then we're like, okay, let's skip this guy. Mm-hmm. We walk past him, and he turns his attention to us, and he's like, "What? You're not gonna knock on my door?" And we're like, "Oh, like, hey, how you doing?" And he starts talking to us, and same thing. He's like, "Come inside," and we're like, "Are you sure?" We don't want to disturb you. And
it's a very long message.
It's a very long message. A lot. It starts back in the BCs. It's just a long time.
I got plenty of popsicles.
but from the second we started talking to this guy, I honestly had this sinking feeling. I'm like, this dude might kill us. Mm-hmm. And so we go inside. And his house is somewhat bare. There's not much furniture. He has like a table and like almost some lawn chairs around the table. And so we sit down and we're like kind of talking to him. And the whole time I'm kind of in a position and thinking like,
Fight or
okay,
flight.
what do I have in here? Yeah, I'm like, what can I hit this guy with if it comes down to it? What's
Book
my
of Mormon.
first weapon?
The Holy Ghost.
Bro, I will holy ghost him out of there. Like,
slap him.
I will send him
demons
straight
out of here.
to hell.
I've been drinking green tea all damn day.
Ignominy patria.
Christ
compels you. No, but like I straight up the whole time was like, what am I gonna do? Okay, and this dude is just rambling on to what I'm pretty sure, and this is no joke, was his confession to murdering his wife.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, this man is gonna kill us. And so I like look at my companion. He's got that same. I can see on his face. He feels the same as I do.
Get the fuck out of here.
And so the guy's like, "Oh, let me show you something." He stands up and he starts to walk to his room. And I'm like, "You know what? We actually have to leave. We have an appointment right now." I'm like, if he goes in his room, he's gonna get something, and I'm gonna have to beat this man.
Yep.
And I'm like, we're out. And so luckily we were like, nope, okay, we gotta go. Hey, thanks. See you later. And we got out. And as soon as we like passed his fence, we ran, just like booked it down the street, turned the corner, and like just zigzagged for a while and got out of there. Never went anywhere near that street ever again.
That poor man only wanted to give you a gift.
Of lead.
Oh, man. You had him all wrong. He was in
He's
there.
gonna give us some Werthers.
Yeah. He's a nice old man.
Probably going to
giving
grab
you-
his wife and just introduce you.
His last will and testimony.
Stuffed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's her urn.
People were scary. Okay. This next story, a little bit of a brain bender. You may experience feelings of sadness,
Slight
Doubt it.
nausea.
desperation.
Maybe.
We're already desperate.
Just
What kind of desperate?
Where are we going here?
So we're going back to school again.
Okay.
Going back
Oh,
to
very desperate. Got it.
going back to college to start. Here we are at a good old Louisiana college with our friend Mitch.
Okay.
Okay. Mitch was going to this college. You know, he had aspirations to become successful, have a family. Well, one day while he's going to school, he met this girl named Kayla. Now, to Mitch, it was love at first sight. He met this girl and he's like, this is the woman I'm going to marry. I love this. This is going to happen. Now, Kayla was a little bit hard to get. You know, she played that game. She made him work for it essentially, but ultimately, he won her over.
I remember Kayla.
Yeah.
Tony stole her from me.
She left you for me.
And then she changed her name. Wait, isn't that the same thing though, Tony? Huh? You're like she left you for me.
No, because
No.
I'm
Is
pretty
this
sure.
Is this the
I
same?
cut it and then she bounced to him.
Is this the same girl that rhymes with Penny?
No, it was Kayla.
Oh, there's really a Kayla. Oh, I thought you were talking
It was
about
really
Jenny.
a Kayla.
It wasn't this Kayla though, because this Kayla was with Mitch,
There's really. Wow.
and they were in love.
Wait, so you guys have kissed the same girl multiple?
Eskimo brothers.
Eskimo
Nice.
Nice.
I didn't
You
ever
just like
put
to
that
share
together.
girls, huh?
You know.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Game appreciates game. So anyways, back to Mitch and Kayla. So here they are going through school, these little lovebirds. Well, they graduate from college and they decide to get married. So Mitch and Kayla get hitched. Well, Mitch lands a really good job, you know, right out the gate, which is pretty unheard of nowadays. Lands a great job. And they become pregnant and they have their first child, a nice little girl, little adorable girl. Well, time goes on. Life is great for these two. Things are working out so well. Everything is coming to fruition. Dreams are coming true. 2 years later, they have another child. They have a baby boy. At this point, Mitch had gotten like a promotion at work. He's now making plenty of money. Kayla decides to be a stay-at-home mom, raising the family. Time drags on. A few years go by, and things are great. You know, kids are grown. Mitch absolutely loves his family. He loves hanging out with his children. He loves seeing them grow, being their buddies. You know, he just loves being a dad, and he was made for this. One day, Mitch is sitting down. He's kind of relaxing after work. He's been hanging out with the kids. He's just watching some TV, just chilling out. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees their red lamp that's just like on the nightstand over there. And he realizes it's blurry. Like the lamp looks blurry. Oh. He's a little confused by this. He's looking at it, he's like, this makes no sense. He's like looking around the room. Nothing else is blurry. Everything's fine. He doesn't have any eyesight issues, no glasses, no contact lenses, but this lamp is blurry. And he kind of shakes it off. He's like, whatever, maybe I'm just tired, you know, goes back to watching TV. Well, you know, more time goes by and he just can't stop thinking about it. This lamp is blurry. So he looks at it again. All of a sudden, the lamp is now upside down. It's like it's changed its position. Now he's getting a little concerned. He's like, am I having a stroke here? Like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with me? And he can't figure it out. So he's like, I'm not going to deal with this. He goes to bed, goes upstairs, goes to bed. Come the next morning, he comes downstairs and, you know, he goes back in the front room and there it is. The lamp, still blurry, still kind of upside down too. Just, it's weird.
What the heck?
He becomes so fixated with it that he can't do anything. He calls out of work. He's like, you know, something's going on.
Does he not walk up to it and look at it?
He goes up to it. He's like, what is this? You know, it's a lamp. He can touch it, but it's blurry. It doesn't make sense.
Just throw it away.
So he stays home from work.
Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at it?
It's broken.
So this goes on for he stays home from work a couple days.
What about Kayla?
He ends up sleeping on the couch. Kayla doesn't see anything.
She doesn't see the lamp at all?
Well, he won't even really tell her what he's seeing because he's really freaked out and he doesn't want to worry her. But it becomes like almost obsessive to him. Like he ends up staying the night on the couch because he can't get away from this thing. So finally, after a couple days of him staying home from work and you know, sleeping on the couch, he tells Kayla what's going on. So Kayla, you know, she recommends let's go see a doctor. Let's do something. Like, let's take care of this. And so while she's talking to him, he just becomes so entranced with it that all of a sudden he just kind of becomes unresponsive to her. But what he's seeing is that this lamp is all of a sudden started to like grow, essentially. Like it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger and bigger. And he's like entranced. He's freaking out. Like this thing is growing and it's taking up the whole room. And as this thing's growing, all of a sudden, like Kayla, his wife, she starts to get more faint and like he's not hearing her as well. But then he's hearing other voices, you know? At this point, the lamp is like almost taking up the entire room. He gets this sharp pain in his head and he's like, what's happening? And all these voices get louder. And then all of a sudden, the lamp kind of takes over everything. And then his vision goes back clear. And he's laying on the ground next to one of his college school, like buildings. And he's laying there. And all of a sudden, this security guard runs up to him and he picks him up and he's like, come with me. He like takes him away to like their truck. And, you know, Mitch is like, what's going on? Like, I have this massive headache. Like, where's my wife? Where are my kids? And the security guard's like, calm down. You were just attacked by one of the football players. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, so there was an altercation. You were attacked by the football player. You hit your head and you were unconscious for a few minutes. And then all of a sudden it hits him. The whole last 10 years of his life.
What?
That was good.
I missed it.
I said the football player's fist because he said all of a sudden
it hit him. But the whole last 10 years of his life, his wife, his kids, his great job, all a hallucination.
Oh my gosh.
All happened within the span of a few minutes of him being unconscious. He, went to the hospital, got checked out. Everything was fine. He physically recovered, no problem. To this day, has not mentally recovered. Still believes in that family. He still dreams of his kid, but his kid is perpetually 5 years old. How old he was like when he awoke, essentially. So he had an entire life in the span of 3 minutes, and it was all taken away from him.
Oh my god!
How would it be?
It's the multiverse working its way.
That'd be wild.
He got hit so hard he went through a multiverse.
Yep, for real.
So it's like when they say your life flashes before your eyes. It's quite literal.
But this guy had a whole life that never happened.
Wow.
Oh my!
Dreamt up his
gosh.
wife and kids, and now he literally can never have them.
You know what'd be even more creepier is if this Kayla chick came walking by at one point.
She might have.
It was
Like
a
if
She
he,
might have been
like,
someone in the
recognized
crowd.
her
As
or
a football
something.
guy's girlfriend.
That's
Yeah.
called butterfly effect.
Ooh, see?
Wait, so you said now he's permanently mentally.
He's okay, like physically checks out, but yeah, he's like,
He's like
I mean,
obsessed.
Mentally, his
Imagine.
brain couldn't recover.
think right now, if you woke up and your family was just an illusion.
It was be like having a divorce and losing your whole family and
Yeah.
not being able to see him again is probably how he felt.
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't even
imagine
be able to
you
see
waking
him.
up at high school with Austin and Cam just staring at you, and me and Chris
You
are
all right,
gone, and your
dude?
family's gone.
So physically and mentally, he's totally checks out, but now he's just obsessed with this family that technically never
he
existed.
remembers them. He can see their faces. He has dreams about them.
Gosh, could you imagine trying to move on? Like you do now meet a wife and everything, and it's like, oh, you're nothing like Kayla.
Who's Kayla? My first wife. You were never married. Yes, I was.
Right?
In another movie.
Or you have a kid and it's
universe.
like a baby boy first, and it's like, nope,
wrong
it's
one.
supposed to be a girl.
Try again. Take this
Oh
one
my
back.
gosh.
Right?
That's a good story.
That messes you up.
That's a
Yeah.
good
This
story.
is
That's what I got.
allegedly very true.
Good butterfly effect feel vibes.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the director's cut of?
Oh yeah,
So good.
movie. Is
Ooh,
great.
I recently I heard a story kind of like multiverse stuff on that podcast. This guy, like I'll give it just the real short version. This guy and his girlfriend, they live together in an apartment in
Oh
New
my
York.
gosh, that one's messed up.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
they wake up.
Yeah.
They wake up, kind of go their separate ways for the morning. She goes for a run. He's getting ready to go to work. He's waiting to hail a cab. And all of a sudden he gets hit in the back. Like someone pushes him in the back and he turns around and it's his girlfriend, but she's in like skinny jeans with high heels. And he's like, she just went for a run. Now she's in this outfit that looks like she's ready to go out on the night, out on the town. And she's pissed at him. Why the F would you do that? You piece of crap, blah, blah, blah. Just going off on him. He's like, what just happened? What is going on?
I think she was
And-
calling him out for cheating and stuff like that.
She's pissed. And he's trying to get an explanation out of her. And she's like, you know what you did, blah, blah, blah. And he follows her up to their apartment. And she's like throwing stuff at him while she's packing a bag to leave. And he's so dumbfounded trying to figure out what's going on. They go downstairs. She jumps in a cab. She's like, F you, gets in a cab and leaves. And like 3 to 5 seconds go by. And all of a sudden someone wraps their arms around him from behind. And he turns around and it's his girlfriend. And he's just now at this point, he's like, okay, I just watched her drive away in a cab. And seconds later, now here she is in a different outfit, happy, just fine. And so then he's trying to wrap his head around this. And he starts to kind of tell her about it a little bit. So they go as far as like watching security footage.
Yeah,
they
they-
can see that the woman was in the apartment.
Yeah, they go upstairs and the apartment's just in shambles still.
Yeah.
Her
And
clothes are missing.
So he thought that it would reassure him if the apartment was messed up, but if anything, it made it worse because now he's like, okay, now this happened. I had an argument with this woman, but now my girlfriend's here and has no idea what's going on either. So they watch security footage. They see them in the hallways of the apartment, and they see her in the clothing that he described. And
But
then
it never shows her face.
it never shows her face. But then her dad is NYPD, And so he comes in to investigate, and they dust for prints on the door because now at this point she's thinking that maybe he was cheating and that this was another woman and he's just trying to make up this story. So the dad comes in and dusts for prints, and on the doorknob, it's just the boyfriend, girlfriend fingerprints. So there was not a third person involved. And, gosh, what else? I think that was basically the gist of it. And he to this day has no idea who this was.
What?
He said he talked to a physics professor, and this professor, total theory, this wasn't like what happened, but he said, he's like, there are stories about universes briefly crossing over. And so maybe him and his girlfriend were having an argument in this other universe. Oh, and that was the other thing. He said that the cab that she got into, he said that he got in, watched her drive away. Nice girlfriend, hugs him. He turns, looks at her, turns back, and the cab's gone. And he said that there was no turns or anywhere where the cab could have hurried and turned off in that amount of time. So she got in this cab, drove off, and now it's gone.
I was thinking it was a crazy like twin sister or something messing with him.
Dude, that's like Matrix vibes.
Right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Dude,
There's a glitch.
multiverses are creepy, man.
I don't know, man.
But yeah,
Deja vu.
this dude, Mitch, could have like slipped into a multiverse, lived a whole life as a different Mitch.
It's like that scene in Doctor Strange where she hits him, boom, and his spirit like comes out of his body. That's what happened. That football player hit his
soul out.
That's how people turn into the Scarlet Witch.
Exactly.
Get a family that they want, and then he spends the rest of his life trying to get that family.
Yep. Now he's going to use his powers to find freaking America Chavez and
Start killing people.
all that stuff.
Oh boy.
All right. This is the best story out of all of them.
I'm excited.
I freaking love this one so much. There also seems to be a theme because this story is about a girl named Bella. She lives in France. And she's home for the summer away from college.
You just love them college.
This is why I didn't go to college.
A lot of drugs in college.
This is why I did not go.
It's about finding yourself. Okay?
Getting real lost to find
Or
yourself.
finding others that don't exist.
Finding universes, you know.
What a wild.
So this happened. Then this happened back in 2019. Okay, so Bella, she lives in France, kind of out in the more like country area, because again, this is the place that these things happen. Wide open spaces. Well, she's at home visiting her family, and she has this spot near her family's house that is her absolute favorite place to be on the planet. It's this man-made lake that her family stumbled upon, kind of almost like while hiking. And it's become one of their favorite spots because nobody else really knows about it. Nobody goes there. Nobody knows it exists. At least all signs point to that because they've never seen anybody there. Now, what it is, how she gets to this lake is essentially she'll drive down the road from her house, a good like 30 minutes. And she'll come to this turnoff, and there's no markings, kind of just actually like a pull off to the side of the road. There's not really any signs or anything like that. They just know it's there. So she pulls off, and then she has to walk through this kind of forested part, and she comes out upon this animal path. So the animal path is essentially, it's not really one used by people. It's just that animals go back and forth through this area because there's water and whatnot.
That's a game trail.
Exactly, a game trail.
Yeah.
So they follow this trail over and over, so it's worn a small path kind of thing. So she follows this game trail for quite a while until it hits a stream, and then she turns and she follows that stream, and eventually the stream will get her to the man-made lake. Now, one leg of this journey, so essentially car to lake, is about 2 hours. Like, it's a long hike. But she'll go out there and like relax all day, read a book, hang out at this lake. It's like her ultimate zen kind of peaceful area.
Would be my zen.
Right? But it's a fantastic like little place that they don't really have to share with anyone else. So one day, she came back from college and she's like, I haven't been there in a long time. I want to go visit my favorite place. She drives down the road, takes the pull off, walks through the trees, finds the game trail, follows it to the stream, follows the stream to the lake. And as she approaches the lake, she sees, kind of on the shore of it, she sees what looks like some little clump of fur. As she gets closer, she realizes it's a dead beaver. Now, this beaver was missing its head. Didn't have a head on it.
Oh, jeez.
And while she's kind of looking at this, she all of a sudden hears a bell.
Bell?
Ding ding, yeah, like a bell.
Okay.
You know, she kind of perks up and she's like, that's an odd sound. Like it's like a kind of erratic, like not just like a ding ding ding. It's like bing ding ding ding, like a super kind of just weird bell, like almost. And she immediately thinks like maybe somehow someone's like dog is like pet is lost out here. It's got a bell on its collar or something like that. Like it's just weird, but she doesn't pay much attention to it. You know, she looks at this beaver and she's like, I want, like, maybe it's connected somehow. Like, maybe whatever animal or someone who did this, maybe they're still nearby. She's not too worried, though. She's like, I never really see people. Not really anything to worry about. Well, the sound, you know, goes away. She ends up spending the day hanging out. Everything's fine. She then goes home. Nothing more to talk about. About a week later, she gets bored. She's hanging out with her family, not much to do. It's a little later in the day than normal, but she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go out to the lake. She drives down the road, takes the pull off, walks through the trees, finds the game trail, and she starts walking down this game trail, and it starts to sprinkle a little bit. You know, it's getting a little rainy, a little sprinkly. Nothing big. She's like, you know, this is fine. It won't be anything crazy. I'll just keep going. She walks about maybe halfway to, you know, the lake. And at this point, it starts to downpour. Like, it's just raining super, super heavy. And she's like, no, you know, I'm sure it'll probably clear up. Like, I'm just in, like, some workout gear, so I don't really care. It's late summer, so it's still kind of warm. But she's like, you know what, I'll keep going. Right. So she's walking down the stream. She's, like I said, she's about an hour into this walk. She decides, she's like, I'm going to keep going. She walks about 10, 15 minutes more. And she's like, you know what? It's going to get darker. I came out here a little late. The rain's not really stopping. I better turn around. I better go back. So she decides to turn back. And she's walking back and she's got her head down, you know, she's got a hat on, she's got her head down, rain's hitting her, but she's also trying to look where she's walking because with the rain clouds, it's already a little darker, even though it's not quite sunset. So she's walking back and she's watching where she's going, avoiding the big puddles and whatnot and stepping over rocks, sticks, all that stuff. Well, then all of a sudden, about 15 minutes into her walk back, something hits her in the head. And she's like startled by this. She steps back, and what she sees like almost makes her vomit.
Was it an apple core?
She ran into, not quite.
It was a whole apple.
Oh,
It was the whole thing. She jumps back, and what she sees is the beaver that she saw a week before. The dead beaver, but this time, you know, it was headless. Right now, this thing is strung up from the tree. And its head is sewn into its hands.
what the hell?
And it's hanging from the tree. And at first she steps back and she's grossed out because it's a dead animal. You know, she's like rubbing her head. She's like, I hope I don't have like dead stuff on me or blood or whatever. And then she realizes she's looking at this thing with its head sewn onto its body. And then she makes the terrible realization that she had walked past this area not 30 minutes before. So in the last 30 minutes, somebody had to string this beaver up on the trail.
Oh my gosh.
Which means they were watching her and they knew she would be back. This realization hits her. And as it does, she hears the bell. Ding, ding, ding. She hears the bell off in the distance. Panicked, terrified, hairs on the back of her neck stand up. she walks around the creepy little beaver and just starts running. And as she's running, the bell continues. And all of a sudden she realizes whatever that bell is it's following me. She hears sticks breaking behind her. Oh my gosh. She hears that bell ringing. She's become panicked. It's still downpouring. It's getting darker by the minute. She looks back. All she sees is dark forest. And she just hears that bell in the distance. She grabs her phone. She calls her parents, hysterical, crying. She tells them, like, I'm on the path. I need help. She realizes she's still an hour away from her car. She's gone a long distance. Even running, it's going to take some time. But she's running. She calls her parents. Her parents, they jump into the car. They fly down the road towards her. She stays on the phone with them the whole time, hearing that bell off in the distance, following behind her, sticks breaking, just constant. It's right there. She's running faster than she's ever run before in her life. After what seems like forever, essentially, she's probably halfway, a little more than halfway, like 3/4 of the way back to the car, nonstop. She doesn't think she can run anymore. She's running low on energy. She starts to slow down. And finally, for the first time since she started running, she stops and she looks back. And at this point, she has come through a clearing. Okay, there's a big clearing of an area, not many trees, so the rain had kind of let up. There's some moonlight shining through. And as she looks back at the other end of the clearing, she still hears the bell, but then she sees this large, just almost like a lanky, just very tall, dark figure walk out into the moonlight. Whatever this thing is, this creature, she realizes it has a bell tied to its like waist, kind of like its belt. And she finally sets eyes on whatever this creature or person or whatever this thing is. It seemed impossibly tall. It had been running after her. All of a sudden, she sees it start to walk towards her. And she realizes that the bell is ringing every time he takes a step. Again, she turns around, runs hysterical, on the phone still with her family. At this point, her dad had they made it to the turnoff. He jumps out of the car, he books it through the forest. She's running, she's kind of renewed with energy from the terror of seeing this thing at the end of the clearing and whatnot. Mm-hmm. She runs and her dad runs out to meet her. They see each other. He runs to her. He grabs her, not even skipping a beat. She jumps into his arms and he turns and just continues to run straight back to the car. At this point, the mom had kind of walked down through the forest and he just grabs her by the hand and they all run right back up to the car, jump in the car, speed away in safety. They're all crying. They're all sobbing. And the whole time, all the parents can say is like, we heard the bell. We could hear the bell through the phone the whole time she was being chased. They also could hear this bell, this thing, whatever it was after. They finally calm down a bit. They go and talk to the police. The next day, the police go out there and she explains like the trail and everything, right? She even lets them know like, hey, there at one point I had a bag with me, like a small bag. She dropped it. Well, as they went out there and searched around, they couldn't find it. But what they did find was they found her shirt, or a shirt that was like in the bag, folded up real neatly, placed on the path with a rock on top of it. Nobody knows what it means. The police, they're like, honestly, maybe you happen to walk into the territory of some deranged person and they were just trying to scare you off of it. But Bella does not believe that at all because she's been to this place for years, never seen anyone else. They've never had any issues. And to this day, nobody knows what the creature was that chased him out, had the bell on its waist, what happened to it, but they never saw it again, never heard anything else. And they escaped. But they had that feeling the whole time they were running. They knew that if they stopped, they would have been done for. This creature would have taken them. They would never be heard from again.
Tony and Zach are freaked out.
That's crazy.
Tony's going to have nightmares.
Would you
I am
ever,
Bella.
would you go back to the lake? Later?
Would I?
Yeah.
F no, dude. Although, actually, if I
With a
had
bunch
this
of
crew
people, yeah.
and we all had a bunch of guns, yes.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Huh?
That's a good one.
That's a good
I
one.
almost cracked a joke, but I didn't want to ruin the story.
What was the joke?
Right when you got to the clearing, I was going to say, when you were saying the bell was ringing, I was going to be like, welcome to Chili's. Can I take your order?
That would have been good, though. That's funny. Dude, I had you guys. That was beautiful.
You did. You did.
How you feel about that, Tony?
Honestly, like
I shit my
part-
pants.
the part that like has me so weirded out is the fact that the beaver had its head sewn to its hands. So this thing has enough intelligence to sew.
Maybe it's a gift for her.
That's, yeah, right? Maybe the thing was like, it was like a Beauty and the Beast thing, and it was like in love with her. It was in France.
Ah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, like, but the thing had been watching her from the beginning
Yeah.
because it was there the other times she went.
Like even
It
as a
knew her
kid.
path. Well, I don't know because it knew her path. That's why it left the beaver the first time. And then
Jeez.
the second time, it had to follow her.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Dude, what do you imagine the creature looks like?
Honestly, what was running through my head was a little bit of Bigfoot and Hills Have Eyes.
Ooh, yeah.
Like some kind of mountainous man creature that's maybe
Deformed.
partially inbred, deformed. Hence the like belt thing.
That's how they find him. He got out again.
My wife got away. Almost had her this time.
You had to bring up Hills Have Eyes, didn't you?
It's freaky.
Oh
There's an
my
episode of
gosh.
X-Files that's very much like that.
Well,
There's,
then
like,
there's
inbreds
Wrong
and stuff.
Turn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies out there
Dude,
like
that story is one of my favorite ones that I've found, like listening to some
Makes
of
you
these
never want to go
channels.
camping or anything like that.
That's why-
Not in France. Jeez.
I don't like it. Don't
Well-
like it.
I can't wait to have all the answers to know the true background to these stories.
Right?
There was one on that same podcast that you're listening to. There was one that I came across. Same thing. Guy goes out camping with his family. They decide to take a hike through the forest, and they come across this campground that looks amazing. They're like, why is nobody camping here? There was a camper set up there, all that stuff. And they're like, well, maybe someone found this out. He got the weird, creepy vibes, all that stuff, decided to head back. You know, they also heard someone following them like in the forest and stuff like that. So they decided to head back, and they're running back to their campground, all this stuff. And he's like, well, we can't leave tonight. He's like, I've got too much stuff here. It's too much. So we're just going to. So what he did is he went around and he set up a perimeter type thing. They slept there that night. First thing in the morning, he went to go pick up the perimeter, and he ended up tripping over another wire. And there was another guy living in the forest, and I believe they said it was a serial killer. And he had already set up his own perimeter. And when they went on the hike, they set it off, and he started following them through the forest.
Yikes.
What if this other guy was just hiding as well, and he thought that they were a family of serial killers, and so he got scared and set up his own perimeter.
Right?
That's
And
like,
they're
what is
scared
it?
of each other.
Is it Dale and Tucker versus Evil?
Yeah, Dale
Oh,
Tucker
I need to
versus
see
Evil.
that
So
still.
That movie's hilarious.
Dude,
It's
I still
funny.
think a phenomenal series of movies would be someone who like. I mean, Dexter basically kind of did it, but I'm thinking like movie monsters, like Texas Chainsaw Guy, like all those crazy ones. Somebody that they're afraid of, and he like hunts them. I think that'd be dope.
Like Blade with vampires.
Yeah,
I thought Blade or Van Helsing, like
yeah, something like that. But like in the same mode as their movies. So like Freddy Krueger is being kind of haunted or hunted by somebody that he's afraid of.
That'd be cool.
But it starts out you thinking it's just going to be a normal Freddy Krueger movie.
yeah.
Well, it's scary, and then all of a sudden he starts switching the power dynamic, and some other more heinous creatures after him.
Dang.
So like
Dope.
he's in a dream, creeping in a dream, and all of a sudden he's like, I gotta get out of here.
like, but
Wakes
wait.
up and something's chasing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, right? That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
But there you have it, folks. Cam's creepy campfire creep show.
Goodness.
Just
Loved
remember, if you hear bells in the forest, run.
It's a kitty.
It's probably campers scaring away bears.
That's what we hope. But let us know what you think. If you enjoyed it, if you like this like form of context,
Context or
us telling
You got
creepy stories or weird happenings. Like I really do love these stories. I
do
think
too.
it's just fun to be like, ooh, what if? But hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comments if you liked it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Real quick too on that story. I thought you were going to end it with she kept running, and for some reason there was a pair of bells that were attached to her feet. So the bells, it was actually her.
Yeah, turns out it was just a pile of sticks that she saw.
It's like that snake prank, how they
Yeah.
clip the snake on a string.
Sasquatch just stuck a bell on her.
Just a stray cat chasing her.
That's all.
What if she ran up to her dad and her dad's like, honey, I'm here. And then when she hugs him, all of a sudden a bell falls out of his pocket. And he's like, that's nothing.
That's the twist in the movie.
Ugh.
That's
Anywho.
creepy. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for being here, guys. If you want to support us, make sure you hit that join button. But otherwise, just share us with your friends, your family, all the peoples. Just
Yes, please.
give us a like, give us a share. We love you being here.
Wait, we need a word of the day.
Oh, what should be?
Sasquatch.
There you go.
That's a long one to spell.
Yeti.
Bells.
Yeti.
Yeti.
Hashtag Yeti.
Hashtag Yeti.
Yeti,
Yeti
bells.
bells. Hashtag Yeti bells.
Yeti bells.
bells.
Yeti
That's
bells.
the one. That's the final one. Put it in there.
Ask us questions too, and we will touch on those.
Oh yeah, we did in this round. We'll do it in
Eventually.
the next episode.
Yep.
All
right.
right,
like
Vita
it.
Zane.
Love you guys.
Goodbye.
Thanks for being part of this crowd.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.